For pity's sakes, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted himself, didn't he?
If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why, it could only have been the victim.
The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful. I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing. Your books, yes. Nice shop, that. But bourbon books? No, not worth a visit. What? They didn't say anything that was helpful. With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear. When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes. Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh dear, even the judge appears to be convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now.
Ugh, why did he have to run away like that? And how are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is not a time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue...
Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least.
Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward.
You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my lord. I just need to keep this trial going somehow. Whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke. You can do it. Did I get bit? Oh, you can see the little man over there. He's standing on the side. That's cute. Also, yeah, I think I got bit by a mosquito on the side of my head. Why did mosquitoes fucking keep biting me on my goddamn head? Can you not? First of all, can you not bite me at all? But also, second of all, what the fuck? Anyway. Oh, you can press people here. Am I in danger if I press everybody in the jury? You know what? I'm gonna hold off on doing that. If you said the woman in green collapsed, I wanna just press the... I wanna press him. Hold it! Yeah. Sorry. Fold it, you say? Fold what? So his hand is sticking out this way. It's just because of the shading and the way it's drawn, it almost looks like he could be doing it this way. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because the thumb isn't facing the right way, but it was very confusing to look at. No. What I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often? I like the old books that they have in there, yes. Oh wait, what was his voice? I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. And at what time did you visit your book on the day in question? Well, I was picking out books and they're all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. So you would have maybe seen him? Just before 5, you say. Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time? Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after that dreadful time I had. What do you mean? Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on ice and dunked my head. It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road? That's right. I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books. Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant. Sorry, extremely sick. No, I'm quite alright now. Okay, so that's Oh, whoops.
It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective.
I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something.
We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo. Cunningly.
Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again, carefully. Okay, so, and if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll pit them mercilessly against each other.
Yes, don't hold back. Pit them all against each other.
Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna press everyone and see what they say, because there must be something that contradicts what old man was saying.
Hold it!
Excuse me, but aren't you... Yes, that's right. I was in the witness stand myself just 2 days ago. Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face. Or the side of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you? That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fussing around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute. Sorry? Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young hatter pegged as criminals.
Oh, well, you know, water under the bridge.
Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been battering me nonstop. If I could turn back the clock. Well, anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. And free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I might struggle to change this man's mind given our awkward history.
Oh dear, I wonder what's become of Mr. First now.
I'm fine somewhere.
If you said that woman in green could last before his eyes, why we could have only been a victim.
You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him.
Well, quite. That's precisely my point. Clearly that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly that funny little Nipponese man with that staring mustache is the culprit.
But let us not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman.
Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. That man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes.
But if that's a lie as you're suggesting, do you not think he would have concocted something more credible?
I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds?
I could tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it.
I do declare the man has already made the admission. He himself has stated that there is nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could have possibly committed this awful crime. If no one else could have done it, the accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple.
Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit.
Oh my, you are too kind, my lord.
That were well. For her. The headman wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back in the bookshop, not in winter.
Hold it!
But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it? Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof to show that he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. I'm supposed to be convincing you here! I have given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim like when he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash Road way, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. A reason why Sasaki-san might have taken the longer way home.
Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one.
Okay.
Hold it!
Whatever's the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Garada, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume his room. The master's wife? Where did you get that idea, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand? I don't remember her voice, but it doesn't matter, I guess. She's keeping up with that charade. Ugh, this is gonna be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean. Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in a little over a week now. And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this? Oh my goodness me, yes. He's just the sort. Well then. What? Spending all of his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. That man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something.
Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How can people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more.
Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She said enough damning things already. Yeah, fucker. What you gotta say? You're the last person. I don't have anything else otherwise. I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I go to the union every morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn to dusk it is. So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just round the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop it was. What? Another coincidence? That's right. Sholmes Street it was. Sholmes Street?
On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets.
Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now? Please, sir. It's important. Fine, I'll do it then. What did he say? On the day it happened, I was digging up Sholmes Street from dawn till dusk. So that's saying that Mr. whatever his name could not have taken the short way over to home because they were digging up on Sholmes Street or something or whatever. How do I pit this? Who do I pit this against? Is it him? The man went up, gonna run the house on the way back. Okay, pit X.
Objection!
Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another. At odds, counsel? Explain yourself.
But please don't point. It wasn't me, I swear.
What? I just want to get this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3. Oh, me, sir? What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map at the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Sholmes Street making it impassable. Which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meerschaum Street and down Briar Road, because apparently people walk on the streets. Do they not have sidewalks?
Oh, yes, of course. What do you think, sir?
Well, yes, you can't argue with that really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. So, the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that must be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop. But we see now that he had no choice.
Yes! My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may.
Yes?
I don't think in all good conscience that I can say that the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened.
Thank you.
What about you, sir?
Who? Me? Well, alright then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in. That's what I say. Such a stupid, contrived way of doing this.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful.
Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It strengthened our position somewhat.
Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only... If we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume. We might be able to tip the balance completely.
Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zieks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent, by whatever means we have at our disposal. Thank you, counsel. On with the summation examination, please. Yes, my lord. I have to say not guilty at this point, so I can see where this trial goes from here. So now... For pity's sakes. So now it's a question of what do I do? What? Oh! Yo, the bitch slip? Is that how she fucking knocked herself out and hit her head? She fucking slipped on ice. But dude, I don't know. I don't know. Should I just like press everyone again or something? Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what other discrepancy there is. So the poor woman was attacked from behind. And then, if he says a woman in Greek collapsed before his eyes, well, I could have only been the victim. For pity's sake. Blah, 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 blah. Let's press everyone again then and see what they say, if anything's different. Excuse me, but aren't you? Blah, blah, that's right. I was a witness at blah, 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 blah. If I remember, banker. Yep. Blah, 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 blah. Bruce fair play. Blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, water under the bridge. Blah, 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 boop, 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 boop. Oh dear, I wonder what become. Okay, so nothing with that. If you said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why, it could have only been the victim. Oh, wait. Did he see him fall? Did he see him? Did Natsume see the old man fall instead of the fucking woman?
Objection.
Those two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasonings. A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel? Well, juror number 2. Juror number 6?
My, whatever do you mean, sir? perhaps the old man didn't hear you.
Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates it on the day of the attack. He had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot.
But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey.
That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes.
Yes, we are all well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Can we really be sure of that, madame?
Ma, whatever do you mean?
I'm sure you heard juror number 6 account of what happened to him that day. The same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood.
Oh, Ma!
My goodness, you mean... That's right, I'm referring, of course, to the hard of hearing juror number 6.
Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today?
That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. Wow, look at that! My goodness me! Sorry, you need a pee? And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell.
On Calabash Road.
Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back home to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly, the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home.
Oh, Ma!
What a coincidence that you would have 2 people here who are working around that area, who fell in that area, be on the juror's stand. You idiot old man! If you hadn't been so daft as to was roaming around there, you would have boxed this off what, hours ago? Really? What were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat? Why are you guys picking on the old man? What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat, is it? Yeah, why are they picking on him? He can wear whatever the hell he wants.
My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but...
You'd like to change your leaning, I presume.
I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty.
Thank you. What? It isn't a crime to change your mind. Whatever. Well, whatever. Let's do it. Hip hip hooray. Well, the summation examination has concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The A's 2, the no's 4. So the no's have it. Not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Objection! Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moments after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. I love that every time I hear his English objection, I just have to do that voice. But... Lord Van Zieks? It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with the intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet, we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Eh?
Whatever do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone! Everything I've said is the truth. Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 is undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir. That's right. It took me a whole day and they paid me a measly 2p for it. 2p, maybe? Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me. Do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? No. Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no.
2 yards is a little less than 2 meters.
Which is less than 6 feet, I think, because I think a meter is 3 feet. Less than 2 meters. That's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. I don't know, man, Natsume is pretty short. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend? Hey, me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no.
What?
And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works? Hey, I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had hopes of passing anyway, and we just turned any gentlefolk back where they came. When they come, whatever. Kids just jump right over us all the time. The accused is no gentleman, as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench and his meanderings around town. Is that true? Is it? Stupid. The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road.
Crushed in a single sentence.
And, old man. Old man, you can talk! What? Whatever. You say that around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time? If he was behind, how would he know? Or, I can't say as I remember.
You don't remember?
How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw. But I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it.
Ah!
Oh my goodness gracious. Order! Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. My lord, if you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer during the summation examination?
Because you can't fucking talk, bitch, Judge, come on!
I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. Oh, for some reason I thought he was about to pull out a sword. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over.
What are you talking about?
My lord, the prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand. That's okay, that's what I wanted anyway, idiot. Grunter, bear left, bring forth the witnesses.
It's next witnesses? Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident.
Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less.
I'm afraid it's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
Alright, no matter who Van Zeeks brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent. And I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over. I was not expecting to see 2 children-looking people. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Man, they both have really thick eyelashes. Whoa, their eyes are blue as heck. God dang. What? I don't have a voice for you.
Constable rarely beats, nothing to report on the streets, Ugh. Ugh. And I'm Mrs. Beat. Patricia's my name, and I'm proud to say I'm the young town hero's wife.
Or something, I don't know, fucking whatever, I don't know what voice for her. They look like they're like fucking 10 years old. What the hell is this? What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually. Indeed, apart from rare days off, our gallant officers charge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check the meters are reading true. And they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights.
There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all.
I wouldn't just be falling asleep at my feet. I'd have collapsed long ago. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor. Sure. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly? Constable Rolly Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir.
Fucking hell, wake the hell up! What a great witness he's going to be. Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident.
Yes, sir.
Fucking hell. God damn it. Wait, hold on. Before I go with their testimony, are they in the court record yet? Oh, look, Holmes. Who? Oh, that's the veteran guy. Oh, they are. 23 and 21. They don't look like that at all. Olive green. Okay, okay, whatever.
It was our wedding anniversary and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appear out of the fog in the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, and then the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help in a nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him as clear as day.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say.
Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed.
It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate backhanding. And on your wedding anniversary, too.
Oh, I know, but I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London Bobby sounds very hard indeed.
Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman no less, so you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking. Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense. Commence the cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord.
You know what? Is she like poor because of all the patchworking on her clothes? Oh, I can't bring up the people court records. Okay, well. What do? I guess I just press everything. There's gotta be a reaction or something. No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beat?
Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, the elderly can't even apply.
Well, I think you could probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can you?
I think Brody looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling?
What? I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy.
Oh no, Rowley. I much prefer you. I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy.
Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you had finished your beat for the day, correct?
That's right, sir, yes. Although, I was fit to drop, to be honest. Have to spend the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end.
Oh, what's that now?
My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it, as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without a grumble. Because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure.
So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then.
But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. B put up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I cared.
Okay, settle down, you two.
Oh, Pat. Oh, Rowley.
Alright, settle down, you two, please.
Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold.
If a little over the top, perhaps? And then, kindly describe what happened next.
Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog of the pavement in front of us.
Hold it!
Two silhouettes.
That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. There was a rather plump figure followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man.
I don't know, the silhouette's telling me that that's not Natsume because Natsume is not that tall, but if you say so.
That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume.
Yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that at the time, there was nobody else nearby?
Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there were streetlights on the Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling? What? Yes, that's right. Of course, there was a light fog on the ground, but Briar Road is dead straight, and you could see a fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians.
Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you just said?
Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all day every day keeping watch on the streets, I'd swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rowley.
Stop it, please. They're still maintaining that there was no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened.
It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run.
Well, That didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly. Anchor, I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that followed? Yeah, the police didn't even fucking chase after the man who ran away, who was presumably Natsume.
All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor and the other scattered something before running off.
Hold it!
Scattered something? What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But then when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling?
Yes, that's right. It was some old books. I see. Old books. Yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them all around where the victim laid on the pavement. Indeed, I clearly pictured on this photographic print.
That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed.
Hold it!
Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker.
But we saw him. It was the man in the dock, without question. Sir. That mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, snub nose, everything.
Any more insults you want to throw in? Wait a minute. No, never mind, sorry.
That's right! He looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes! And then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away!
I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here. May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please, continue.
Yes, sir. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby...
Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Pete to go. I was off duty by that point. But a Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance. That's why I sent Patricia, see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box? Depends on the crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. So I told Patricia the way to the police box where the beat the incident fell under so she could go and report it.
I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The action of two model citizens.
Oh, please, you're making us blush. Isn't he, darling?
Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir. Let's move on, shall we? It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Roy and I both saw him as clear as day.
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you?
We absolutely could! Lost Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know.
Oh, right.
The light from the street lamps were more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he?
Why is she mad? Yes. And what of the fog? We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is! When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm.
Yes, alright. I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about?
dust and fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling?
Yes, it was the accused, and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, snub nose. Unmistakable, sir. As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Soseki-san that they saw running away from the scene of the crime. So that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beat saw, what they say they saw. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day.
Yes, I feel the same.
So if that's true, where does it leave us?
The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony.
Oh no! Then what do we do?
If Kazuma-sama were here,
What are you trying to say?
I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony.
What do you mean, somewhere else?
Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appear to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory on that day is accurate.
Oh, right.
Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in the statement somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial might reach...
What? Shit.
If we don't, I'm afraid the trial...
What? My fucking god, hang on. Ow! Hit myself in the face.
If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion.
Ugh, why do I always seem to be so up against it? Okay, whew, that's a lot of talking, but... What? Oh.
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Well, is it? How would then?
What? No. Oh, it's really not that at all.
My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail. Everything. Like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? I could tell you the names of every single one I could. Every single one. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is!
But what is that noise? That was a bad timing for a noise to show. Okay.
No, it won't do at all!
What did the judge say? I got distracted. That will do, Miss. Okay.
That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Royally will.
I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please, put your husband's fist down. Perhaps you'd like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. Breach. Might that appease you?
Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling? I could even tell you the names of the 4 books he dropped at the scene. Well, first of all, bitch had 3.
But also, I bet you the names of those books are gonna be wrong. Is it enough that I can just like present it? Present the note? Or do I have to press her for the names?
Objection!
Okay, should be fine. So, you're saying that there were 4 books?
That's right. I remember all of them. The picture of Monsieur Somebody, What's Its Yearnings, A Meal for Someone, and the Thingummy Something.
Oh, okay. The somebody, the what's its, the someone, the something are all fucking her lack of memory. But let me see. Do those match up with A Meal, Canterbury Yearnings? So the thin gummy, what was that? The Thingummies. something? I think that's the one that's off. Whatever. I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But there is a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours.
Oh no! What flaw?
Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4.
What?
This is the receipt from the bookshop where the defendant brought his books.
Your books?
Yes, and it details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed.
Only 3? No, that can't be. I remember seeing them. There were 4 books, I tell you. 4 dirty old books.
Oh really? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see from this evidence as well, there are only 3 books. I mean, never mind that there could be a book hiding behind the body, but like, okay.
But I just don't believe it. I saw them there. I saw it. I swear it.
No, madam. I'm afraid your powers of observation cannot be relied upon. So it cannot be denied that though you say it was a defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh no.